Always be consciously aware of every breath that you take. Peace, family. I am Kaliq, and today I welcome you to the jewelry box. Today I want to just focus on some jewels that are all around us, our birthrighted jewels. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds, pearls. They're all around us, and we can just grab them and then listen to them and wear them and put them on and rock them. So essentially today, I'm going to share some valuable information with you all. I know that most of you that are tagged to this video or who are going to watch this video know me, and trust me that I'm going to share with some valuable information with you. And those who don't know me, once again, I'm Kaliq, and I'm your everyday neighborhood cosmologist. And what today we're going to share today is answering some 5 questions that might be circulating in you guys' minds. And the first question is, what is cosmology? What is cosmogony? Second question is, what is the original contract? Quotes, the original contract. And how can we find it? What's the deal or hand we were dealt with? The third question, why is it important for us to understand the stipulations, i.e. the conditions of this contract? The fourth question is, if we are contracting with other beings, foods, businesses, and etc., wouldn't it be wise to understand our own energy first before we study the energies of anything outside of ourselves? And the fifth question is, what is alchemy and why should we utilize it? Alright, let's get it in. So, what is cosmology? Well, I'm going to utilize etymology, which basically means the study or the origin of words. So, cosmology is broken up into 2 words, cosmos and logi or logos. The first word, cosmos, simply translates as the governmental extraction and order or arrangement, i.e. governmental order of the universe. The second word is logi or logos, simply translates as word forming compound elements, meaning speech, theory, science, or basically to speak on something, the spoken word. Like for example, in the Bible, John 1 verse 1 states, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Actually, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So like, sit back for a second and think about that. In the beginning, the original, and the origins, the cosmos, was the Word, the logic or the logos, and the Word was with God. So communication or the inspiration or spirit of God was with the origin of creation. And the Word was God. The Word is God because that is the expression of God. That is the impression. So essentially, cosmology is basically the study of the universe. I look at the cosmos to be the ordered mind of God, which is kind of like the nervous system of the human body. You know, the nervous system is the receiver of cosmic energy, and it is like the CPU unit of your body. It orders all of the energy and tells it what to do. A government. It governs energy. Well, we can call this cosmic fire. Wherein is as the logi or the logos, the logic of the universe is the discourse. And a discourse essentially like a doctor, when he graduates from school, he's gonna write different discourses, and his discourses will be his studies of his experiments, theory. So, once again, the logi, or the logos of the universe, is the discourse, aka the spoken word of God, which is kind of like the respiratory system of the human body. You know, the respiratory system communicates with the nervous system, or the mind of God, the cosmic fire, the cosmos, and it expresses itself. So the plasma, or the cosmic etheric energy that is space, time all around us, communicates itself in expression as a gas exchange. And as the gases express itself and condense, there's electricity that creates itself. Beautiful. Kind of like the human body. The human body only knows how to express itself when it is inspired in spiral spirit at ions. Inspiration. Ions are the photons, are the energy of the sunlight. The fire, the cosmic fire. So it expresses itself when I... Kind of like the affirmation I did in the beginning of this video, where I said, always be consciously aware of every breath that you take, because it's so important to know and become the breath or the inspiration of the mind of God, so that you could be consciously aware of what you are speaking. And this awareness is setting a rhythmic, unconscious pattern from where you can pull from. Let's keep it very basic. I don't want to go too spacey today, but I have a tendency to do that anyway. So, once again, the logi, or the logos of the universe, is the discourse, the spoken word of God, which is the respiratory system, or better yet, cosmic gas, or the air element. We all know that fire can't exist without oxygen or air. They need each other. They are both complementary elements of creation. So, now in regards to cosmogony, Geni, or Genesis, is a word-forming element meaning the origins, or production, or born. So, cosmogony is simply the origination or beginning of the universe as it pertains to astrophysics or scientific theory. So basically what I'm saying is, as something originates and creates itself, as we see the actual forming of it is the cosmogony. Cosmology would be the study of just what it is. Okay, so now we have it. Cosmology is speaking or studying the orderly rhythms and cycles of the stars. We can know that as philosophy. And cosmogony is the actual production or birth of the stars. Science. Now we have it. Science and religion. They marry each other. Simple. Now, in terms of the various cosmological pantheons of creation, there are global cultures, religions that actually articulate this in their various types of stories and how the universe was created. Whether it be Chinese astrology with the Chinese zodiacs and the animals, whether it be Western astrology where we're utilizing the current Greek zodiacs and Aries and Taurus and Bulls and Rams, okay, or whether it be the Mayan Olmec where they utilize this system called the Bolanyak Tiku, and they utilize the different glyphs of the Mayan Olmec glyphs. Some of them are called Khan, Kaban, Chichan, and so on and so forth. Or, you know, a lot of us do know the ancient Ennead of Kemet. They utilize different deities of the Ennead like Atum-Re, Asar, Aset, more modernly known as Isis and Osiris. Linguistics have changed through evolution of time for our understanding of the connotations of these things. So we can go to any pantheon of creation. Yoruba, in Yoruba, they utilize Orishas and the Ejagun for the positives and negatives of it. And they had different Orishas known as Eshu, like kind of behind me. You can see the Eshu back there. the twins, which is the respiratory system, the lungs, and so on and so forth. Now, the cosmogony of these various cosmological pantheons of creation in these different locations all had to do with how they reacted with their immediate environment to create an archetype of an imagination for the storytelling to their generation to generation to generation. And now that would be the cosmogony, the actual origination of how it came from. So, we study into these different cultures to find the roots of who we are. So what am I basically saying? Why we want to study cosmology? Why do we want to study cosmogony? Simply, what I'm sharing with you is this jewel of, if you can understand where you come from originally in its primordial state, now all of the evolution and the corresponding different phases of how you came into a material being, we no longer idol worship. We are from the pure essence of creation. We call it God. Great. So now, question 2. What is the original contract? And how can we find it? What's the deal or hand we were dealt with? What did God hand us? Alright. The original contract is what we cosmologists would understand to be, in different systems of cosmology. I'm going to focus on astrology right now. We know one as the original contract as to be a natal birth chart. And a natal birth chart is the negotiable instrument that lawfully guarantees your covenant with God. Now, whether your parents, which is like your past life, because your mom and your father and their grandparents are a culmination of memories that created who you are. So you are them. Ancestrally, you carry the spirit of every cosmogonies of that they created in their life. So the origins of where you come from are what they created. So now, going back to, they are your past life. Now, whether your parents were either conscious or unconscious of these negotiations with the Creator, God, the stipulations to the original contract were being drawn up by the Almighty while they were conceiving you, regardless of the fact or the fiction. So, in essence, whether your parents were aware of it or not, the cosmos are going to snapshot a spark creation of exactly how you were created and give you a blueprint design of who you are. Even if your parents didn't know. In the ancient times, we did know, and we can study the histories and anthropological data and the calendric systems of pyramids and ancient civilizations and see how the indigenous ancient peoples did utilize birth creation and procreation to create life. And they calculated and measured it specifically, knowing when the cycles of the cosmos were at to birth solutions, answers to anything that is happening in our cosmology, cosmogony. So essentially, now what's happening in the cosmology or cosmogony of the current paradigm, let's focus on North America, is a lot of people don't know astrology, and they kind of think it's spooky, or they might just know that they're a Libra or that they're a Virgo sun sign, but that's about it. It's kind of spooky to them. But it's still being utilized in your everyday's affairs, regardless if you are aware of it or not. So basically what I'm saying is that understanding the root of these energies are at play, consciously or unconsciously. Simple as that. Don't want to be redundant. Want to make sure that it's getting in there for us to understand why we have to know what this original contract is, and how we can find it was the natal birth chart. So knowing that the cosmos were being aligned, as your parents created you, whether you were planned or unplanned, you are gonna inherit that birthright regardless. So your natal birth chart is essentially the snapshot or still freeze frame picture of where the cosmos were located at birth. This is your cosmic startup or born date. They call it your birth date. which gives you the cosmic blueprints to the temple of God, aka your body. Now, how can I validate that this is a blueprint? How can I validate that and prove? Why do I have to prove that this blueprint is what we should govern our lives by? Like cosmology, cosmos, governing our lives. Well, let me give you a few examples. Plants in nature are governed by farmers, which utilize farmers' almanacs. So, if a farmer utilizes a farmer's almanac, and a farmer's almanac is just a study of the cycles of the stars to know when the seasons are coming, so that I can grow, right now we're in the fall, pumpkins and squash are prime. You can go to any grocery store, anywhere, and you're going to see pumpkin season. Okay, go to summer season, you're going to see watermelons. Okay, why is that important? Well, plants have these essential crystals that give us energy known as what? Minerals. So, as in minerals make up our actual body, why is that important? Well, let's see, for example, excuse me for that that commercial. We needed a kind of a break in the pattern to catch y'all attention. But now going back to the farmers and the farmers' almanacs on governing the cycles of the seasons, so that we can produce produce. We know that, quote unquote, oranges might not be good for you, but oranges are the natural oranges are, quote unquote, high in calcium. Okay, high in calcium. What inside of our bodies has a lot of calcium? We can study from books and different things, but conventionally speaking, bones. The bones are made out of a lot of calcium. Now, for example, we can eat romaine lettuce. We can eat tomatoes and such. We also know that they have high in iron by studying different resources. But basically what I'm saying is the blood is made out of iron. We all know that. We need iron. We're told these. We don't know, though, because we need to know the original contract, but just basic simply to introduce this is nature is governed by these cycles and rhythms to grow certain plants, and they're made out of these certain minerals. And guess what? We're governed by nature, and we have certain minerals and crystal prisms that make us up. Light, condensed light minerals, iron, phosphorus, magnesium, calcium. These are our ancestors. We know them now in quantum physics. We never called them this, how we're calling them now in Western science. We used to call them different frequencies. But I will speak this common denominator because this is how we communicate with each other now in common language of English. So, essentially, now we are made of these elements. You know that if your birthday is today, October 16th, you're a sun sign Libra. That's when you blossom. You blossomed in Libra. So guess what? Every time your birthday comes around, or your born day, your flower blossoms. Now let's say if someone was born April 16th, opposing that, the opposite in springtime, their flower blossoms in the springtime on April 16th, and so on and so forth. Beautiful. Now, here's another example. Weather forecasters, which I guess they call them, what is that word? Mineralogist, or I forget the word. But basically the people who go on your news and they're on that little green screen in the back and saying, oh, today's going to be 85 degrees, tomorrow, Tuesday, da-da-da-da. Well, they're being governed by, what, Dopplers and different satellites. And these satellites, they translate and interpret where the stars are at. And then that little machine sends information to these weather forecasters. And weather forecasters are like, oh, tomorrow there's a small chance of precipitation and it might be overcast tomorrow. And actually, 100 years ago to this date was when the most rainfall. How do they do that? They had to study the stars. Wow. Okay. What about animals? Animals also have natural circadian rhythms that govern them. For example, what about bears? Don't bears hibernate in the winter? They have this natural click to them that says It's the season of winter. Go hibernate. What about dogs in the summer? Click. They shed hair because it's hot. Birds migrating, flying different locations, and so on and so forth. Beautiful. We can't look at ourselves. Basically what I'm saying is outside of that itself, we are connected to that. So as we study all of these elements in creation, how can we forget about our original contract? It's right there. We are it. So now, there's another system called the Destiny's cards, and a lot of people understand this to be different tarot systems. But it's just simply a calendar. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but basically your birth cards are the hand that you was dealt with, the cards you were dealt with at life by the Creator. And each card is a block of your consciousness or your calendar system. So when you were born, you're creating a calendar. You created a calendar, that's your calendar blueprint, and each card slaps on and it's keep going. It's called a shuffle. It shuffles it through and you go into these cycles. It's a schedule of events that are your destiny. It's the same way that today is October 16th, Wednesday. In 7 days, it's going to be October 23rd, I think. Excuse me. 7 days is going to be October 23rd. You know what I'm saying? Sorry. 22nd. And it's going to be Wednesday again. Though you have different choices every other 7 days, it's destiny in that calendar system every 7 days to be Wednesday. Beautiful. It's not going to be October 16th anymore, though. So it changes. You have a different choice. Beautiful. There's this cosmological pattern to the universe, and we can activate opportunities within each calendar system and watch the probable outcome. Say, every Wednesday, I'm going to do this. Every Wednesday, they do that. Every Wednesday, I have done this. Oh, wow, I studied the cosmos. Cosmogony says, where did this all stem from? How did it stem? How did I create that? Cool. Cool. It's so beautiful to understand that. Now, going back to the cards of destiny, your birth cards are like the conditions to the deal that you made with the Creator, aka the dealer. Now, these life cards are the hand you were dealt with in life. And now, like I said, it's a calendar system. And today, we don't utilize these playing cards, Ace of Hearts, King of Spades. We don't utilize this as a calendar. We don't even see it as a calendar. We play some spades, we play poker, we play blackjack, we play rummy, we play any of these different games. And where do they actually do these things at? Conventionally, in a prime sense, at a gambling house. In North America, or various gambling houses across the globe, they utilize these cards and at casinos. So, wait. Hold on. So when I go to a casino, I had to have money. To get that money, I needed to use my human energy and work to actually get some money. Now I had to go turn in that work to get some chips so that I can put it on the table and give away my hand that I was dealt with. Why? Because I want a different hand. I don't like the hand I was dealt with because I want to cheat my way to the top. It's not an investment. It's a gamble. I want to take a risk and gamble away what my birthrights are to give it to a different dealer and let him play God so that I can get lucky and hopefully become rich. And now I can buy all of these things. Oh, wow, it's the American dream. Wow. Just like their government. Quote-unquote government. It's a dream. It's not real. There's side bets. There's interest, stimulus, contracts. There's all of these gambles going on. But simply, we don't even understand that these cards were our ancient calendar connected to the Mayan Omic calendar called the Zolkin calendar of the original people on this land that utilizes calendar of cosmology to govern our lives by. But now we just spit at them. We treat it like it's a game. It's not a game, people. It's really our governing umbrella of how we created ourselves to live in this civilization in North America. This is actually the most ancient, original cosmogony that we should be utilizing. Moreover, more important than Western Greek mythology and Aries, Taurus, Gemini, moreover than ancient Kemet and the Cometian sciences of the Ennead, moreover than Yoruba and Ifa pantheon, moreover than Chinese astrology, moreover than any other cosmology, because we are located where? And we blossomed where? In North America. So let's connect with our land. And we have to understand this. So the destiny cards is something that we should really study. Now, I'll give you some resources later. Now, your navel, your belly button, is your personal signature to authenticate that you agree to the designs of the original contract to navigate from these primordial waters through the womb and manifest as a human being. That's your contract, it's your birthmark. Now, your ascendant sign, and we'll go over these in future classes and future presentations. Your ascendant sign is basically what we cosmologists and astrologists know as a rising sign. It's your certification of birth, that you rose from the womb and took your first breath of life on your own. And the umbilical cord was cut. You're yourself now. You're your own being. Your calendar has started. Now, the first breath communicated oxygen, the logic from earlier, the words, through to all of your 12 zodiacs in your universe, which we know as the 12 body systems, from the brain to the skin to the skeletal system to the muscles, the respiratory system, blood, so on and so forth. Now, this breath activated and commenced the beginning of your exclusive calendar. Excuse me. Let me close this out so I don't get any disruptions. There's another pattern disruption so that we can keep in line. So now back to it. The first breath communicated oxygen through all of your body to activate and commence and to begin your exclusive calendar. Your body started living on your own. Now everything that you eaten, whether it was sunlight, whether it was oxygen, whether it was water, whether it was noise or sound vibration, whether it was heat, whether it was cold, whether it was food, you started growing, making proteins, amino acids, tissues. You're a growing essence. Now, how can we locate this original contract? Natal birth chart, life spread cards. Kaliq, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, simple. Well, maybe it's not simple because you haven't introduced, so I got it. There are such tables called the ephemeris tables to find out where the planetary and stellar forces were at when you were born, just by utilizing your birth date, time, and place. Technology now assists us all in locating this contract via multiple websites such as astro.com, alab.com, cafeastrology.com, and that's to find the natal birth chart. Other sites to find out what your cards are at birth are such as the cardsoflife.com, 7reflections.com, and 7thunders.com. Now, these are all online studies and parables and paraphrases from people who have studied the cosmology and interpreted the energies to be such. They are great study tools, as I would say. Now, I did bring up the ephemeris tables. That is basically the almanac of the cosmos, just like the almanac of the Farmer's Almanac. It's the almanac of the cosmos. It's the study. So when somebody said 100 years ago this was the hottest date to date, how did they find that out? They had to create an almanac. That's how these websites create their technology software, that you can just simply www and put it in there. You can find out what's going on. You know, where the energies were when you were born. Great. Now, I will say, those are just extractions. Those are someone's interpretations. And I do highly recommend studying the actual constellations and planets organically via telescopes or just sitting out there and meditating under the sky. Now, whether you buy your own telescope, or maybe even go to an observatory. Being able to actually locate the constellations and planets is the best studying you can do. Why? Because I know for myself that I have studied the cosmos via books, first-hand, second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand research, and it stagnated my growth. Why? What do I mean? I didn't have that personal relationship with God to know when someone said the sun is in Aries, or the moon was in Taurus, or this card, that card, whatever. How was I able to organically locate that? How could I validate that was true? Where did it come from? What is cosmogony? What is cosmology? I was just believing, like, it sounded good, it sounded great, but I didn't know how it worked. So it didn't really benefit me until I became it. Hence, I am the elixir. So I recommend studying the cosmos organically. You know, if you have to go to an observatory and go to some cosmological courses, no matter who's teaching you, so that you can locate where the stars are, so that you can locate where the planets are, and you can have this personal relationships organically, I would highly recommend doing that along in correspondence, if not more than actually through the books and websites and such. Because, why? Just to keep it real brief, we know this thing called light pollution, which causes pollutants of different light that's coming into your eyes to block off. So, for example, when you live in cities, there's light pollution. And when you want to look up to the stars, you might not see the blanket of stars, the black canvas of pure creation. You might not be able to see the patterns and the rhythms it moving. Because why? Just like if you were to be at a movie theater and they had the lights on, the white lights of the lights will stop the vision from that canvas. You won't be able to see. Simple. So, you know, if you're living in cities, I do highly recommend at least taking breaks and little vacations of going to different locations where there isn't much city lights. Go above the city lights and go to the mountains. Go somewhere so that you can take that divine inspiration in. And why is it important? Because it's so important. The benefit studying the planets and the stars under the night sky is it promotes creativity and enhanced dream states. In a conversation with your ancestors telepathically and kinetically. It's your spiritual money. It's your cosmic credit bank account. This cosmic credit bank account is how you can communicate. We think we do it in dreams sometimes. Sometimes it's hallucinations. If we're studying everything that we know through this monitor screen, through TV, through sounds of a radio speaker, through other people who actually do the same thing as you, and it circulates that same cosmology, guess what? What's playing behind your eyes unconsciously is that reciprocating pattern of the energies that are being circulated from being to being, monitor to being, satellite to being, phone to being, so on and so forth. Now couple that with fake foods. We can go into that later. Foods that are poisons. Your inspiration, you might think is inspiration sometimes, but I'll let you know it's a hallucination. Your dream state, it has a struggle in trying to interpret what is real. Because we might think sometimes that the visions that we have is from this spiritual godlike being, but is it really? Because reality, what do we look through more often than in life? Do we look at life through our own lenses? Or do we live a distraction pattern into the circulation of modern society and watch life through computers, TVs, iPads, watches, earphones? And then everybody communicates that way. So it's not as organic, and it blocks us from our dream state. This is physical money. This is what we call idol worship. This is what we call money is the root of all evil, the physical money. If we don't know how money was actually created as a value system to agree upon as a common denominator, to trade with each other, to share our goods and resources with each other. Beautiful. So now let's focus on our spiritual money, because this is how we will change all of the everything that we know we want to change in the world. We don't have to go through everything to understand that the state of the condition of the world is not where we would all like it to be. But I have to ask you, and I have to ask myself every day, what is my original covenant with God? And if I'm not living that covenant naturally, I might be eating cheesesteaks and I eat cow, and when that creates a chemical reaction, because I'm a nutritionist, a naturopath, that meat, that assimilation of that cow creates gases, and it's not the gas that the nature needs as I breathe out. You know, they need carbon dioxide from natural carbonated plants. But if I eat meats that are dead, that have no more life because it's dead flesh, that chemical reaction creates carbon, monoxide, methane gas. And now I breathe these out to nature, and guess what? The covenant of nature, I am breaking the law. Everything is being destroyed right in front of me because of my doing. That's me. That's you. That's us. We need to go back to the original contract so we can go in different variety of forms. I don't want to stay too long on that, but I'm pretty sure we get the point. Now, I'm going to move on and go to question 3. Why is it important for us to understand the stipulations and i.e. the conditions of this contract? Simple. To get the most of who you are, aka optimal performance, instead of guessing. This minimizes miscalculations and mistakes, which can shorten hard lessons, or simply what? When we get stuck in a rut and we can't get out of that, and we're set in emotional blockages and unconscious patterns that we are fighting with ourselves, and keep articulating and affirming our reality by saying, I remember when you did this. I remember when you hurt me. I remember. And see these emotions I'm explaining? I remember when you fought like this. See, you used to do that. You used to. Guess what? I'm drawing from that cosmogony and pulling you into that reality. I'm doing that. You have the choice to say no, or yes, I remember that too, but I decide today to step into my successful power, to step into my birthright of me being successful and confident and competent of who I am. And no, I will not enlist into that energy no more. You are right. You were right. I won't do that. I show compassion. Excuse my weakness. And we move forward. We don't got to sit in a life lesson for the whole life, or for 10 years, or keep sitting in emotional stagnant patterns. We can get it then by affirming our reality and trancing ourselves into a hypnosis state to say, hey, I am the I am. I am that I am. I am that. I am great. I am amazing. I am successful. I am the money. Yes, I am. Just like the Aries or the Kaliq. It is the I am, the creativity, the creation. Be creative. Don't be so hard on yourselves. Understanding the stipulations and the condition of this contract is essential, because just like in any contract, if you don't read the fine details, you might get emotionally upset when your cell phone company says you have these surcharges. But guess what? If you would have read the contract, you would understand that they had these surcharges. Not just that, take it a little bit further. If you would understand, you would never have to pay surcharges or taxes at all, because you have the birthrighted heir apparent status here on earth to actually even utilize anything that you need on this earth by just communicating it properly to whatever entity that you're doing. And that leads us to what? Question number 4. If we are contracting with other beings, foods, businesses, and etc., wouldn't it be wise to understand our own energy first before we study the energies of anything outside of ourselves? Well, just like I was talking about before, how can one, let's use for example, nutritionist or someone who's teaching you about food nutrition, would it be wise for a nutritionist to say that apples are good for memory? Okay. Maybe it was good for their memory as they're eating for their memory. But guess what? I'm made out of a different contract. I got different conditions and stipulations. I got different minerals. So we might be able to study however they came up with potassium, magnesium, or whatever was in that apple. But what minerals am I made out of when I eat this, and what does it do to my intelligence? Like I said Someone born today blossoms as a flower in the fall. Someone born in the opposing springtime blossoms then. So it might give me a whole different reaction. So it might not give me good memory. It might give me strength. It might give me these other keywords. So it's quite essential for one. This is why studying cosmology and studying all of this is so important, to study yourself first. Know what you're made out of, so that you know not to just believe and be sold dreams, other people's dreams. And I want to affirm that solidly through each one and communicate it as a solid foundation to say, hey, nobody knows myself better than I do. So I know if I listen to myself, no doctor can tell me. If I know this is bad for me, I know it's bad for me. If I know it's good for me, I know it's good for me. I will create my reality. So when somebody's trying to give you food list, if someone's trying to say these laws and that laws, you are all of that. Step into your power. Step into your birthright. Align to it as you step into it and become it, and stay there. Don't stay frozen, but maintain that alignment with the universe. It's beautiful, isn't it? When you confident and you remain that confidence, every time you ever figure it out, like you drop down and you were like moping around, all you have to do is remember. And why do we need somebody else to affirm our reality? Say, I remember when you were confident. And they're like, oh yeah, I do. And now you're your own reminder. You got eyes too. You got a memory. We don't always need each other, people to baby us, and we got to stand on that. Compassion is great. It's what we need. And it is a balance that we need. I'm not negating that, but I also understand that we got to show ourselves compassion. So, focusing on what our contract is. What is my contract? What am I made out of? When I eat this banana, what is it going to do to me? I won't know what it's going to do to me until the cosmogony, the study of the physics of it, is going to show me through my experience. And then I discourse it. I write it down. I remember when I ate a banana 7 days ago. It gave me this energy. I remember when I ate a banana 14 days ago, 7 days ago. It did the same thing. I'm going to continue to eat these bananas because I like what it does to me. You're only going to interpret it yourself. Beautiful. Same thing when it goes to contracts with people. I remember when I talked to this person. It didn't give me a good reaction. I remember when I talked to this person. There was a good reaction. Cool. Now this is a challenge and this is easy. Still, you can react to both of them. You have the choice to avoid it or enjoy it. Up to you. You want to learn the lesson? It's all on you. You're attracting exactly what you want or what you need in your life. So, and it leads to the very last question. What is alchemy and why should we utilize it? Well, let's give a brief overview of what we just went through. Question 1 was, what is cosmology? And we went over that and we discussed that it is the study of the universe and it is the origination of the universe. Okay, it is the study of, now we understand we are a universe ourselves. And we understand and understand that what? We also create a cosmogony and a physics that we can record and measure ourselves. Beautiful. Now that is our original contract. Each original contract is the root of each contract that you create. So now, going to each one, how it benefits of knowing what our original contracts, how we can locate it, and why it's important on knowing ourselves first before we know another contract. Here comes alchemy. Alchemy is simple. If you go into your kitchen right now, you know yourself. There's two people. Basically, one that says, I don't know how to cook. The other one says, I know how to cook. What differentiates the two? One actually experimented with the cosmogony. They went in, got some salt and pepper, bam, 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 made a meal, whatever. They had to create what type of meal. They know that they're confident, competent with that alchemy. Now, while eating, some of us know when we're eating, we look at what we're eating, we know how we feel. We're like, I don't know, I don't trust eating that. It made me feel like that. Some of us just keep eating the same thing over and over that keeps bringing back self-defeating behaviors for us. And these tendencies we're not even aware of because we don't even look at or think about what we eat. Something to think about. Also working out. Some of us don't work out And we don't know why we are getting lazy or why we don't have energy, because we don't move the energy that we have eaten into outside out of our body and utilize it to build muscle mass or protein. Some of us do know that. And we do alchemize those energies. You see how they're different categories, but we need to do all of that. Same thing with engaging with people. How is your social standing, and how do you interact in relationships? How do you negotiate with businesses, your contracts, your money, finances, economics, and etc. and etc. and etc. We should utilize alchemy simply so that we can forecast the most probable outcomes in our lives. By knowing this simple formula of knowing self, knowing outside, each one has a different rhythm and pattern. We all live in a pattern we call the universe that is governed by our every movement. We live ourselves governed by our every movement. I have my calendar, the universe has its calendar. Now alchemy is, what am I doing in relationship with the universe? With my ingredients and their ingredients. What type of flavor do I got? And you're going to notice people who have style, who have flavor, they're original, they're authentic. They are more attractive than the people who are copycats. They are more attractive than the people who are very cold and, stiff. I'm just saying, things are more beautiful when they got flavor. Things taste more good when they got flavor. So, I mean, seasonings on food is flavor. People who know how to season things up just the right way, or how to dress according to the seasons, they got more flavor. Now they call them swag. I don't know what that word is. They call it, that's just tasty, or excuse my language, and so on and so forth. Those are just the seasonings of the seasons. And we all can agree. So, that's it. That's all I got. I just came here to open up the jewelry box and share your jewels. Your birthright is yours. You're the heir apparent. I'm just assisting you and helping you remember that you got jewels on already. Or you have the possibility to open up the closet of the cosmos and put on the wardrobe that you want to wear every single day. Or not. You can go to the physical and think that you got to wear things that mannequins, and it's just a metaphor. So just know that these energies are yours. It's your birthright, is yours. Affirm your reality. Walk into your power. Align to your power. Stay in that power always. It's beautiful, isn't it? Well, so what I got, I'm Dr. Kaliq Muhammad, aka I am the Elixir. I will be doing more consistent videos and series going into different varieties of subjects and topics of discussion. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment box. Definitely gonna get back at you with them. You are all beautiful. You are all amazing. The most amazing yous that I've ever seen, have ever experienced. The greatest yous that have ever been here. I know this. I believe it. So now just choose to become it and stay it. I love y'all. All right. Peace.